like I said, there's some man in an office, you know, who said, hey, who else can we give 50 pieces of silver to go out and do this exact same thing? Because it seems to be working. We're just going to keep putting money into it, just like I keep put money into Microsoft.
It's my argument I told you about the demo phase. Let's just go scour YouTube, find some demos with 1 million views. Boom, 50 pieces of silver. They'll be a star. All right, man. Let's pivot. Let's talk about the OG Nikki D. He had some comments about Ice Spice, man. I had just given Ice Spice the flowers for shouting out the writers and saying that, you know, everything was cool with their criticism because they're actual writers. And then after that, man, everything just went to hell, it seems. Saw some. Did you guys see?
I saw it. You know,
everybody synced it.
I just checking. I ain't know.
Talking about Betty Boop.
There it is. Thank you, Lone.
Did you see the caption that Hip Hop DX put?
No, I did not.
It was like powerful performance. I was like,
really?
Okay.
Yo, Nikki D. Who actually was the first?
Okay,
I didn't even realize. I forgot. If I'm not mistaken, she was the first signee.
First female rapper on Def Jam.
Yeah.
First single called "Letting Off Steam."
There it is. OG status. So here's her comment on Instagram. She says, "Oh, come the F on. You mean to tell me this is true talent? The female genre of hip hop today is the prostitution era. Fight me with 2 glove emojis." Notice only 2 times the crowd reacts during the familiar munch line and when she turns around to show her ass.
Shaking that ass.
Thank you. She's one of the top female rappers out at the moment. Where's her show production, rehearsal? And for God's sake, please stop singing over those studio vocals. It's not a live show at this point. Can someone have Ice Spice's manager get at me? This girl got 5 minutes left and y'all gonna blow it.
Yeah, it's kind of rough coming from Nikki D.
So here's my question.
She's not wrong.
She's not wrong, but
I don't care who came from.
Here's my thing though.
She's right.
I want to go to
the
prostitution era comment.
That's absolutely fact.
That's where I want to go.
Fact.
Let's talk about that because to me that's the line. The line is the prostitution
Well, we already
era.
know that.
But what I'm saying is Nikki D coming out and calling it the prostitution era, bro. That's bold.
No, it's not because everybody is saying that.
Who's called it the prostitution era?
I mean,
you don't count.
Everybody's literally said that in maybe not using the same word prostitution.
But that's what I'm saying.
Took
That's
stripper fight rap from when Jay. Look,
that's why this hit different to me.
Called this
it hits the exact
years
same.
ago.
You think so?
Yes,
it does,
bro. Prostitution era,
Yeah,
bruh.
Yeah.
You're not bad that sound.
No, it sounds the exact same as it's been sounding.
I don't know.
I don't understand.
They're selling
what is
sex for money.
prostitution? What is prostitution?
What else is
Why
prostitution?
does that stand out so much to you?
Prostitution just sound.
And that's coming from a woman, so don't say.
I respect it.
You know,
it's her opinion, but dang, dog, the prostitution era.
Man, it's the same
selling sex
thing,
for money.
Man.
That's what it
is
is.
that?
All right,
that's what
it's
it is.
the same thing.
It hit different to me, in my opinion. It hit different to me. But go ahead. I don't want to. Y'all jump in. Whoever
I mean, they're getting paid for doing these acts, right?
Slang prostitution.
$40 on the table.
What album is that?
Prostitution.
Sorry?
Slang prostitution. Who had a song called?
Sounds like Wu-Tang. I don't know.
Go ahead. I'm sorry, Terry.
Too late.
Oh, see, I was right.
But no, that's it. That's all I got to say about that.
Jay Moore, what's up, man?
Look, man, I'm going to tell you right now.
Tell me right now.
This is social engineering. Let me cook here, y'all, because we got to get into it.
Cook.
Think about in the last 10 years when we always talk about the top rappers. You know, they always. Now, me, because I listen, and all of us here at this table, we listen to a lot of hip hop. But, you know, the people who aren't as learned or aren't so deep into the culture they bring up, you know, their Biggie, Jay-Z, and Nas is Drake, Cole, and Kendrick.
Yeah.
Okay. And Drake, you know, a kid from Canada, a Jewish kid from Canada singing about his feelings. Okay.
Foreigner.
Yeah.
A dirty foreigner.
Dang.
All right.
Y'all gonna be in trouble one of these days.
It's just a matter of time, Terry.
It's just a matter of time.
They're going to sweep through and pull up.
Then, okay, we got Kendrick, kid from the West Coast, has Midwest roots, talks about, you know, the ills of gang violence. Kid doesn't even drink or do drugs in this. Talks about marriage and therapy.
True.
Okay. And then you got J. Cole, a biracial kid from North Carolina, you know, who is a college graduate, who has talked about a various amount of things. These, whatever you want to say, these are the guys who have sold the most records in the last 10 years.
Yeah.
And so I really think the people at some, you know, like I said, I believe in the conspiracy of social engineering. And I think a lot of people said, we failed in trying to infiltrate and
With hip-hop?
Infiltrating. And how is it these guys, we put all this dope and all these guns in the game, and these are the 3 artists they gravitated
They rose to the top.
So they said, you know what? How you can really infiltrate the culture, specifically of Black America, is if you go through the women. Okay. And so all of a sudden,
Civil rights movement.
now all of the women, you can't get a deal if you don't have plastic surgery, a BBL, if you're not talking about your actual, not just using men as a resource or something to fear, but you have to talk about your contempt specifically for Black men, and that they aren't anything, and that if they're not buying you nothing, they are trash, and you should get what you can get from them. And you know what? Let's celebrate having as many kids as possible. It ain't got to be no marriages. It doesn't have to be with a man that you care about. You can have kids and not have any man in the house, and we're going to celebrate that. And so
It sounds like civil rights.
You ain't lying.
And so here it is. Now you got it to the point where they're making it seem like Sexy Red is young black women is America's hero. Here it is out here. She pregnant, twerking with no shoes on,
Stinking.
At
Talking about how it stank.
at every, literally talking about having unprotected sex with drug dealers as something to celebrate, because those are the dudes who got Hellcats and SRTs. And then even women who, like Cardi B, got married, then had kids, did it in what some people consider to be the traditional right order, and she's out here still selling a certain level of Meg's hot girl summer. Meg is these women want to be in love, but you know what, they don't sell that. They sell shaking ass. They sell
shaking that ass.
Alcoholism and drug use. They sell casual lesbianism. I know I'm getting trouble.
But what is it from though?
But I think it's the social engineering.
So I'm going to add
I think it's
to
the
that.
social engineering.
I'm going to add to that because you are correct, social engineering. But in the same token, people love it.
But
and people have always loved.
People love McDonald's and crack, Terry.
Exactly, and they're very rich, and it sells
Speaking
every
of
single
crack.
day. So, with this music and all this such,
None of that is good for you.
None of it's good for you, but people love it. I mean, why do you think there's so much when we're talking about junk food and obesity and all that stuff? Is because everything is readily available to you. You can go buy it right now. So people are really into this junk food music. And it's in their face. I mean, we have shows called The Real Housewives of such and such, and none of them are married.
Right.
True.
Or you have the hip hop show from this region, and none of these people are in the hip hop game. They're just in that region.
There's no hip hop. There's no
hip
love.
hop. You know what I'm saying? So,
And they call the show Love and Hip Hop.
but
Facts.
you have people that are feeding and buying into this culture, so to speak, that we don't necessarily agree with.
Well, you know what? Because nobody wants to say, because whenever there are people who are taking, oh no, they just have. Once again, I talked about this before, to where it's specifically for
I know
women.
what they're gonna say.
They'd be
Yep.
like, oh, they just having fun.
They just having fun.
Sexy Red and Lotto and all them, they just having
They just
fun
having
talking
fun.
about like I said, once again, we got to keep it PG.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so but you know what they never tell when men are doing things that are doing, because trust me, I know people are gonna be like, why are you so hard on the women? Listen to the other 360 some odd episodes. We hard on the men too.
Yeah, but you got to be hard on the people that are influenced by this and who love it and push it to the forefront of the culture too.
Yeah, you know what? Yes, we do got to. But like when I see 8-year-old girls twerking on the internet,
That's at the house.
But bro,
yeah, but you got to understand, like, cause there was this clip where a school teacher of all people, somebody who should know better, was like, if you something and you want to see what's up, and all these little kids go, that was how she got their attention.
Yeah.
I was like, the reason we should be concerned about something like that is not because that's great, the teacher could get the girls' attention, or the kids' attention, but the fact that kids who are under the age of you should be listening to Sexy Red, they know the source material.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
I hear where Terry's coming from, because the social engineering concept, even if it's happening right in front of our face, and you talk about the conspiracy theory, cool, because we're seeing the results of what you're talking about. But I like how he says that's at the house, because
It's
this
definitely
is
at the
still
house.
being received well and consumed.
Listen,
no matter what the engineering is, people are flocking to this.
Listen,
Maybe that's another level of the conversation.
The difference between now and back when we were kids is that a lot of our parents were actually still parenting us. You know what I'm saying? So we may have been sneaking to listen to this music. You know what I'm saying? We knew we wasn't supposed to, but some about it spoke to us. But we also knew how to move in a certain way to where this is not us.
Well,
You know what I'm
also-
saying? It's not becoming of us. Hold on.
Oh, go.
But
go, let's
now
go.
you have parents that want to be so cool with their kids. They're listening to the same thing that their kids are listening to because they want to be relatable to them.
Preaching.
So they're literally painting a picture and trying to raise them while raising themselves, so to speak, because they want to be so cool with their kids that anything goes. That's why whenever you hear something, oh, they're just having fun, they're doing this, they're doing that, you can't be mad at them. Like the little boy that's rapping. Have y'all heard the little boy?
Yeah.
I put it in
That's
Discord.
crazy.
I put it in Discord.
That's crazy that's acceptable. When the dude that hopped on the song with him was like, oh, that's how the little dudes come up where we at anyway, and he's doing something positive. He's not doing anything
not positive.
People need to stop relating or relying on this bag of money to be the positivity in your life, because it actually leads to everything negative.
the
Capitalism.
guy,
You know what I'm saying?
the guy that was on, to your point, the guy that was on the feature justified everything by, well, he getting a bag. We're gonna get a bag
That's-
for him. He's gonna get a bag. I'm like that. Mike Son made a very good point. He was like, that's the only thing that you got from having this little 6 or 7 year old boy rapping and talking about what he's
That's
talking about
it.
is that he's going to get a bag. That's the only thing you got out of that.
That's it.
Our Charleston White comments when we had commented about, what was it?
The
Same thing. People were in the comment section saying the same thing. Like, well, he's helping them. Blah, blah.
yeah,
That's not helping.
yeah.
It's not helping, man.
Where's
like,
Lil Mouse right now?
man,
You remember
probably
that?
Ain't no
He grown
telling.
now, so
Ain't no
wherever he
telling.
at, he grown now. But Delone, do you have anything to add? Because I know
Yeah.
we've been going back and forth. But go ahead. I want to make sure you get yours.
No,
off.
I mean let's see who's. Let's put up a poll. Who guess what I'm going to say here? All right. So I
Wish
think
we could flash the poll on that
Nate
one.
actually mentioned it. Jay mentioned it. The social engineering aspect of everything too. I mean, it comes back to I think it's multiple things.
Okay.
But it also goes back to the profit motive, right? This sells.
Yeah,
It
everything
sells.
is about the bag.
It sells the powers that be, and shouldn't have to explain who the powers that be are,
You don't.
care about one thing, and that is money. And they are going to pay attention to what makes money. And so to Jay Moore's point, social engineered specifically in that way to be detriment to the black family and black people in general, or if it's just about making money in general, I don't know. But I definitely know that it's definitely chasing the money.
Absolutely.
So to me, it's definitely a capitalism issue, but
There it is.
everything is. So
And so is a social engineering experience for everybody, because hip hop is the #1 consumed music form today.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I mean,
Good
we
point.
are using black faces for this music and this particular style of what does she call it, prostitution era
Prostitution.
or whatnot, or even beyond that, the drill music or whatnot.
right.
But it's the main source or the main consumed music form right now.
What's driving?
So is it targeted to everybody, or only the
it's-
black kids and individuals, the ones being influenced by it?
Well, look, when I look at these, because you see these people performing at like the Rolling Louds and whatnot, like that's mostly white people down there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And but the thing is, they consume it, digest it, and they go home. And
There it is.
unfortunately, like I said, when I see how black culture, and I have a front row seat to this, how they start living, it influences what we drink, it influences what we wear,
There
it
it is.
influences what we drive.
Yep.
And unfortunately how we act and our attitudes towards each other. So that's the part that's most concerning to me, because we're letting these clowns, and I'm going to stop pulling punches on this because people are quote unquote having fun. This is clownish,
Yep.
and some of y'all are just so happy to be at the circus that you'll see Sexy Red out there twerking, pregnant with no shoes on, and just clap like you just saw the most incredible, like you just saw Michael Jackson do the moonwalk. It's got to stop somewhere, because now these companies see that, they'd be like, ooh, let's see what else we can do.
Yes.
Right.
Because like I said, with the Cardi and Meg song that came out and was dead on arrival, it was because, like, why are we going to listen to this when we got 5 Sexy Red songs that are way more trifling?
Yeah. I want to address this comment right here.
Go ahead, bro.
It says, I don't think, let me see.
I got you.
I don't think it's because parents want to be cool. I think it's because the parents grew up listening to hip hop and still do, whereas our parents grew up listening to different music.
No, that can
Overwhelming
be
slice.
that appreciate the comment first of all.
Yes.
But that can be true and untrue at the same time because, I mean, I knew parents that were into hip hop coming up, but were into only like certain songs that told a story and kind of warned you or something. So like I remember my friend's mom listening to Tupac, All Eyes on Me. And the song that she liked on that album was Wonder Why They Call You.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And she explained why she liked that song. It was the stories, what he was talking about, and the whole situation. So yeah, they were listening to it, or some of them weren't, but there was still a safety net, so to speak, when it came to what they allowed their kids to be exposed to. So it's like you can listen to certain stuff, but all this extra stuff, nah, we ain't doing that. Or if you're listening to it, you're not listening to it in my house or on the loudspeakers. You can go listen to it on your headphones. Whereas a lot of this stuff that's out now, if somebody really gravitated towards hip hop and understands the culture, you kind of shun away from some of it too. So I'm not about to be riding around listening to Sexy Red with my daughter or any other like vulgar, crazy stuff with my sons based off of me growing up hip hop, because that doesn't represent me. And you still have to, at some point in time, have some kind of growth and development that's keeping you from putting that in your child's ears while they're with you. You know what I'm saying? I mean, because they're going to do it regardless, but you have to police the situation as a parent.
Right. I think I agree with that. I would also say, though, that the one difference that we're seeing with the generation that is raising kids now, the younger generation at least, even though our generation is having kids later than the previous generations, and
if they get to have kids at all,
for sure. But like our parents generally didn't grow up listening to hip hop, though. The generation that is younger now, their parents did. So I think there is something there. It like the connection between those two things. It's different. I think, it's like my parents grew up listening to rock music and called the school when the bus driver was playing Crisscross and saying, I don't want to, it's just what it was. But back then it was like hip hop wasn't as thriving as it was in the 80s, and the message was generally positive in the 80s, I would say.
Positive or just fun.
But not like what it is now. Like it's a step
like
away.
it black then because it was black, essentially.
That's part of it.
But I guess to the point though, like if
it wasn't their music, that's part of it. It wasn't their music.
Yeah, I think there is something to that though. I think maybe it's, I don't know how big it is.
I think I have friends that are our age that have preteens or about to be teenagers, and they try their best to have a filter system. You can, like Terry said, you're not gonna catch everything. Now goes back to the engineering. You can find it on TikTok, Instagram. It's a dance to it. All that goes into what we're talking about. But my homie that has his daughter's about to be 13, he's like, man, I try my best to make sure that she understands the difference between this and that because of the music that, to Lone's point, he grew up on hip hop. He listened to rap. So he tries to make sure that his daughters can understand the difference in the types of music. That's something that he makes a conscious effort to do. Now, how it's going to land, we don't know. As they get older, we'll see.
I mean, it's a teachable moment.
But it's a teachable moment. Like I've seen him go out of his way to make sure that they understand Drake or J. Cole or Kendrick versus whomever you want to select.
But if you grew up with 2 Live Crew and that was your favorite group.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he did grow up with 2 Live Crew.
As his favorite group?
Well, I mean, they listened to him.
And only that?
Not only that. I ain't gonna lie to you.
What he loves,
this is a lot of times.
I ain't gonna say only that.
With the nuance we miss. Because, I saw, shout out to Nuri Muhammad. And he had this whole thing about how in the 90s it was so positive. And we had this, that, and the third. And
it wasn't all positive.
Exactly. Because I commented on the post. I was like.
Mainstream was more positive.
Luke and X-Clan and a Tribe Called Quest and NWA were all out at the same time.
Same exact time.
But I would say the mainstream was more positive.
I would say no.
Well, mainstream was different then. Mainstream wasn't hip hop.
Exactly.
That's
hip hop
fair.
wasn't mainstream, but if we were hip hop, what we considered to be mainstream, there was balance.
Agree.
If you watch an episode of Yo MTV, right? Okay, you're going to see Naughty by Nature.
You're going to get some of everything.
And then you're going to see,
E40
Nice
in the click,
Smooth.
Nice
and then
and
you're going to
Smooth.
see Snoop Dogg.
Yep.
And then and then you might see Salt and Pepper. But then you might see with problems. You know what I'm saying? So it now all we get, if we were to juxtapose the eras, all we get
BWP.
through the A is BWP. Sorry, we're going to have to blank that out, I guess.
Yeah.
But, now, it's like when you go to the club, you hear BWP for 3.5 hours.
Yeah.
True.
There was a balance in the force.
It's like you can almost say, hey, BWP and HWA just came along too early.
Come on, man. They
But at the same time, when we had those groups, we had
Homeowners Association. What?
Hey.
But at the same time, when we had those groups, you had Nikki D putting out Daddy's Little Girl and Hold On Kid. You had Nature.
Where's she from?
She's from New York.
New York.
New York.
We had.
There's always been an
We've had
alternative.
Queen Latifah putting out Nature of Her Sister and Black Rain.
Y'all remember when Heather B came out? That was an alternative to
Her nonchalant.
Nonchalant.
They came out before Foxy and Kim.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lady of Rage was out before them.
Facts.
Yes. But what
Facts.
happened when Foxy and Kim came out? It was provocative.
And then all of a sudden,
People
that's
loved
all we saw. That's all anybody signed for the next 30 years.
That's because that's what was making the money. Hell, Rhapsody just put out a new single like yesterday.
Snippet was fire from what I
With
heard.
Hit Boy. Yeah, I heard.
Yeah, fire. Guarantee you don't do anything like these numbers.
It's not going to even be close.
I bet it'll
Nothing.
probably do better than City Girl numbers.
I hope so.
We'll see.
Be nice.
I hope so.
6,000 to 8,000. I bet.
Yeah,
I
because
bet.
that's a whole nother conversation that in the road that we could go down. But I'm like, what with Rhapsody? Even if you're not a fan of Rhapsody or whatever.
The song was good. I'm not a huge fan
No,
of Rhapsody, but
I'm-
the song was good. You know
Thank
what I
you.
mean?
I mean, you can be honest,
yeah.
so I get you. But what I'm saying is, where the disconnect is, why can't we just push? Why don't you want to get behind her and just push her? Like,
Because it's not fun.
there we go.
It's a learning situation. It's almost like, so you have to go to school to learn, right?
And
so they don't like it because you're actually listening and learning something. You're seeing a different angle. It's not fast food. It's not, I can, understand this song. And by the time it's over, I understand it.
Yeah.
They're going to play it again and again and again and again and again. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Repetition is going to beat you to death, essentially.
And in our country, we don't care about the educational system,
Not at all.
and we don't put any money in the educational system. We don't pay teachers enough. We don't pay educators enough. We don't incentivize people to want to educate.
Preach.
And if we don't do that, then we are socially engineering our children to like the lowest common denominator.
There you go. The
Amen.
low-hanging fruit.
Low hanging fruit.
With worms and stuff coming out of it.
All of it. I got fruit in the front yard.
All the fruit they getting is
It's rotten.
spoiled and rotten at this
Yeah.
point.
All I'm saying is like we need to be aware, and be very conscious. And I know that's a lot to ask of people. We need to bring back balance. That's fine. Okay, if we're gonna have the City Girls, if we're gonna have Sexy Red, if we're gonna have Lotto and all these other people who talk about who their whole steez is shaking ass. All right, then let's make sure we put some energy into Rhapsody, and then we bring her up all the time because that's the one that we know. Probably better than anybody. But I know there are other women out
There's
here.
some more.
spitting.
There's some
I
more
see
dope
them.
artists out
but
there.
you know what? We don't put a spotlight on them. So
Gotta do a better job.
I
at it.
think part- yeah.
go ahead. And look, and this is just my little political soapbox, and I'm going to get off it because, like I said, I probably already said too much. Black women, be very aware of how your ethnic image, Black American women specifically, how your ethnic image is being disseminated throughout the entire world right now, because they are pushing this internationally. And you're going to look up and be like, why are we seeing this way? Because this is what
Sukiana was over in England talking about
Man.
she's trying to get her coochie scratched.
Yeah.
Man.
So and this is what they're
That one's
they're
still
proudly, and there's like I said, there's some man in an office, who said, hey, who else can we give 50 pieces of silver to go out and do this exact same thing? Because it seems to be working. We're just going to keep putting money into it, just like I keep put money into Microsoft.
It's my argument I told you about the demo phase. Let's just go scour YouTube, find some demos with 1 million views. Boom, 50 pieces of silver. There'll be a star.
Yeah.
It's that simple.
It's all that, like, when you watch the music videos, like, remember how there was just such an uproar over anything that had to do with BET Uncut?
Mm-hmm.
Now women are just they're making BET Uncut videos about themselves and for each other, and
For free.
yeah, and it putting them on YouTube, and it is something that somebody needs to say something about. We're just a little small platform, and don't nobody care what I got to say, but here I am saying it. So let's go.
but that's good. I mean, I do think part of the onus, I think part of the responsibility is on the people like us to continually to talk about this stuff and to highlight the good outside of the negative as much as
Yes.
possible.
Yes.
And because we understand that even though we won't do as much numbers
Right.
in general, we need to, it's on us as well.
Yeah.
It is. It's just what it is.
it's pretty much
I don't
about
mean
being
just like
mindful,
us. I just mean people
but-
that have this type of viewpoint.
It's about being mindful, but unfortunately, the masses have spoken. Essentially, this is just where we're at. I mean, even as a country, when it comes down to politics, when you see who they pick as the politician they want to lead, it's pretty much the same thing.
Yeah.
They literally don't pick the best people. There's
No,
somebody
they don't
they're-
pick-
the
That's the
people-
problem.
The good people don't even run.
No, or they run and everybody be like, they can't do that. Let's go this
and,
way.
and let's just also bring it back to this. Start booing these women. I'm sorry.
Start booing all these
Start booing. Start booing.
whack ass
It ain't just
whoever.
women.
Booing
Yeah.
Ice Spice when she only knows every 10th word of her song. Start booing Glorilla.
They ain't
Start
about to
booing
boo it.
these.
They ain't
Start
boo it.
booing these
They
women,
ain't gonna boo
fellas,
it.
ladies, everybody. Let's get together and start booing these women into doing better.
Not
Bring
gonna happen.
Apollo back, shame campaign, all of that.
Yeah, let's do it.
But this is, again, I hate to harp on it, but I really don't. This is why capitalism is so bad, because you can't get out of it. It is
Yeah.
literally a vicious cycle that is always looking for the lowest common denominator. They're just looking,
a hamster
does not
wheel.
care about the good in
That's it
anything.
right
It's just
there.
about money.
not.
Hamster wheel.
It doesn't matter. We can preach till we blue in the face, and people are
just saying.
still going to pick the exact same stuff.
Yes.
Great conversation, gentlemen. Let's shout out the partners.